What's up, music fans of the internet? I'm Kevin.
I'm Derek.
And together we are Last Week's Album, where we're bringing you two opinions on the best new music. And in this episode, we're talking about the album You're Better Than This by the band Pile. So, and the big question here, by the way, is while they're being hailed as alt-rock's next big thing, can the masses stomach such a raw, undefinable sound? So we're going to talk about that and more, but before we do, we're going to kick things off like we always do, drinking a beer. Cheers, Derek, and everyone at home.
Cheers, Kevin, everyone at home.
And we'll start with a little background on Pile. There's really no scandalous backstory here. They seem to be four average guys in a band, although their band has a little bit of underground notoriety. They're a Boston rock quartet, and they're talked up by similar bands. Speedy Ortiz and Krill are both big fans. And this is their third album. It was recorded in Omaha, Nebraska, with producer Ben Broden, who is a Saddle Creek veteran. And let's talk about what it sounds like. Derek, what do you think?
Kevin, I think You're Better Than This sounds like the Dropkick Murphys and the Strokes steal Doc Brown's DeLorean to kidnap early 90s House of Pain and make an album.
Wow, that's awesome. I think this sounds like Rage Against the Machine and Neutral Milk Hotel get thrown together into a Shark Tank.
I like it.
Very interesting sounds like for you guys to chew on. Let's talk about key tracks, and maybe that'll give you a little bit more taste of their sound. Derek, what are you going with for key track?
Touched by Comfort, which is the fifth track.
Right on. I'm going to go with Mr. Fish, which comes second on the album, so I'll start us off. The track itself starts off with almost country crooning with some wiry guitar and crawling drums, and at about 1 minute, it starts into this slow-build fake-out. You think it's going to go big, but it just sort of gives way to more guitar and drums, sort of lulling you into complacency, and then the real build sneaks right up out of nowhere with McGuire's wailing vocals starting the whole song sort of careening off a cliff. Lyrics describe the song's character. He's sort of detached from the world and doesn't realize how different his perspective is. And just as there's a really good line here that says, "I wonder if my fate has been taped to my back because all your eyes look like they're reading me as forms I was supposed to have filled out." And just as Mr. Fish is a little off, the second half of the track is really this non-stop assault that goes off the rails in all the right ways. Angular guitars, throaty vocals, grungy bass, pummeling drums, and toward the end it sort of slowly mellows out in stride, and overall just a thrilling roller coaster ride of a song. So definitely check out Mr. Fish. And Derek, tell us about yours.
Yeah, this one actually kind of has two very different contrasting sounds or themes to it. The opening part of Touched by Comfort kind of has this meandering electric guitar. There's kind of an acoustic guitar, which eventually plays what I thought was a very Pixies-ish riff. There's slow bass snare drum beat, and just kind of forlorn vocals, very subdued. But then the drumsticks start tapping, building intensity, and there's this bright, chirping electric guitars, soaring vocal melodies. Really kind of reminded me of some early-ish Kings of Leon there, just where the kind of guitars kind of started going off. Aha Shake Heartbreak era-esque, if you want to get specific. Just kind of soars off, really humming along until an abrupt ending. The lyrics are kind of paint kind of a negative depiction of gentrification told through the eyes of a resident watching it happen. One lyric, he says, "It's the same place on the map, but most things have turned over." And in describing how the locals see all this turnover, he says, "Buildings repurposed, money exchanged between floating hands." Yeah, I think the contrasting styles of this song itself might also kind of reflect the two sides of this. One seeing it go away and then maybe rebirth on the other. I don't know, just really interesting song and a lot happening in like 2 minutes and 40 seconds here, but really, really great song.
Yeah, that is a really, really good one. Let's talk about best lyrics. I'm going to go with one from the track Appendicitis, which is the album closer. And the line says, "There were times I wanted it so bad that I made it hurt. But now I wait as patiently as I can for my heart to ache again." And it's a deep, relatable line, sort of on its own, but in the context of the album, I feel like it really sums up these sonic 180s and the really surprising juxtapositions that Pyle definitely sort of pulls off in their music. What do you think, Derek? What's your best lyric?
Mine actually comes from album opener, "The World Is Your Motel." And he says, "I'll never be Elvis, I guess. One big, moist bag of garbage." Again, I think kind of clearly stating intentions. He ain't going to be a hound dog or, whatever. Something all the time. And, but I would say this, maybe aim slightly higher than one big, moist bag of garbage. And I think through the rest of the album, they clearly prove they fall somewhere in between there.
Right on. Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about overall rating and the big question. Many are calling them the next big alt-rock act, but is their sound a little too raw for the masses to stomach? What do you think, Derek?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know. Yeah, I'd have to say, yeah, I think it is right now too raw and just too much energy for the masses to think. I mean, I really enjoyed it, frankly, and it really grew on me with each listen, which I think, again, also doesn't really play in its favor because I don't know if everyone's going to give it quite as much time and attention as maybe, say, you and I. I thought there were a lot of really great contrasts. Kind of opening track, "The World Is Your Motel," just scorching, grungy punk, tough to sit through. But then you get to the acoustic guitar blues of the instrumental "F the Police." And I censored myself on that one, but the track title itself is not censored, which does garner an explicit denotation places, which is weird for a song that doesn't have any lyrics. So, but overall, really good. I really enjoyed it. I just don't know if they've smoothed out the rough edges to really make it appealing to the masses. But I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. Really liked it.
Right on. Well, we are in agreement. I'm also going to give it a 4 out of 5. I think it's really interesting music. You've probably never heard anything like it. I don't know if I've ever heard anything like it. They mix really disparate genres from country and acoustic to post-punk and hardcore and noise. And they always keep things interesting with odd timings and math rock and plenty of volume shifts. They're also ironically funny. You mentioned, Derek, "F the Police," which is a hand-picked acoustic number, which is hilarious to me. And hit single number 2, that's the name of it, is probably the toughest listen on the album. I really like how they take intense music and make it funny and fun. I think a lot of bands in that genre sort of take themselves a little too seriously, and Pyle's sort of self-efficacy is really refreshing and welcoming. To answer the big question, do I think this is going to take them to the masses? Probably not. I agree with you, Derek. It's a really intense, rough sound for a lot of people to stomach, but I think it's worth it. I think you and I definitely appreciate it, and most intense music fans will. Genre aside, just intense music fans. And but I do think that a lot of their predecessors are going to take what they're doing and incorporate that into their music. So indirectly, I think they are going to get their sounds out there. It might take a little time and a little bit of sort of softening or playing with from other bands. But I think we'll hear more of their sound. I think rock is headed in this sort of noisier, rawer, more unpredictable space, and these guys are definitely at the forefront of that. So there you have it. 8 out of 10 collectively from Derek and I. Definitely an album worth checking out. You're Better Than This by Pyle. And I'd love to hear what you guys think about it as well, so let us know. And don't forget to subscribe to us here at Last Week's Album. And we'll be back with more reviews, always giving you guys 2 opinions on the best new music. As always, I'm Kevin.
I'm Derek.
We'll see you next time.